And I think we're ready to go here. All right, here we go. What is going on, everyone? And welcome to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is episode number 180, the place for Xbox talk and more on Sunday nights. This is your host, Invader, and it's great to see you all here with us this evening, everybody in the chat. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about, stuff like Second Extinction. It's now available through Xbox Game Preview. What do we think about it? Well, we'll let you know in a sec. Also, more talk and details popping up about IO Interactive's new IP. Does it sound like something cool? Again, find out soon. As well, Xbox gaming revenue is seeing a massive uptick. What could be causing this? Well, again, we'll be talking about that soon and lots more. But of course, before we get into all of that, let me introduce all the cool people on tonight's panel. And joining us tonight are two really cool guys. First up, from the We Bleed Green podcast. Again, awesome fellas there. Please welcome Devin. Hey, buddy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me on tonight, man. Definitely looking forward to the show.
Yeah, it's great to have you here again. Lots of cool people from your panel there. We've had Dirt on before, and yeah, it's a great crew there with Shan and everybody else. Very lively discussions on your show, and yeah, I can't wait to hear your opinions on everything.
Absolutely, man. I'm ready to have some fun.
All right, good to hear. As well, we welcome back our friend 108 Dragons. Hey, how you been, Lemon?
Man, life is good. I'm ready to get into these topics, man. Thank you for having me on once again. As always, every Sunday, I'm tuning in. You dudes are just absolutely amazing. The work you're putting over here, man. I'm just very humbled to just be here once again, man. I appreciate y'all.
All right, well, we appreciate that, Simon, buddy, and I can't wait to hear your commentary. All right, now on to the TXR regulars. Shockley, buddy, hey, good to have you here. How are you been?
Oh, pretty good. I've just been getting my shit wrecked in Returnal a few times. So I've been digging that so far. So, but yeah, finally just beat the that first boss. So finally, so it's starting to click a little bit better, and I'm starting to feel at least not as demoralized. So on to the next one. But yeah, ready for this show.
Yeah, buddy, yeah, well, you know what, funny enough, we will be talking about Returnal later on. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on that and everybody else on the panel. Tim Dog, hey, Tim, buddy, hey, you ready for tonight's show?
Yeah, very happy to be here. A really good cast, Devin and Lemon's awesome panel, and we got a lot to talk about, so pretty happy to be here. We got a good team right now.
Yeah, you said it, bud. And finally, rounding this out, Centurion, what's up, brother?
What is up, guys? It is Sunday night, time for TXR Podcast, and I am still looking for a new calendar to find out what day it is because of yesterday's incident.
In case people don't know, please go into detail, Centurion.
So apparently me and Lemon have been talking for days now about getting me on his amazing show, the Dragon's Den podcast. Been really looking forward to it. I've even been weighing the option of actually hopping on camera for the first time on YouTube. Ooh. And of course, I'm over here thinking May 15th, and it turns out it was yesterday. And I'm like at work, and I come home, I turn on Twitter, and it's like, oh damn, I was supposed to be on a show today. I didn't know that. Oh man, living with ADHD, isn't it fun?
15th, you good. We good.
Right. Well, it was a Saturday. That's why I was like, man, somehow 15th got thrown in there, but okay.
The 15th is a Saturday?
The 15th is a Saturday. I even
got the calendar at work. I got you.
Oh, man. It's all good. I'm sorry again.
Oh, man. That should be your new nickname, Mr. I'm Sorry.
That's not really a
Mr. Apologetic.
Oh man,
Mr. Apology. All right, I don't mean to put you in the hot seat there, Centurion. Just kidding around, folks.
Should be like Jeff Foxworthy, like, sorry, I'm just a tool. No, I'm playing.
Hey, if you want to go there, all right, sure. all right, guys. But yeah, it's great to see everybody in the chat just filing in. Lance Jennings, Six Slayer, Spida, the Game Filter, Toolman. Oh, lots of cool people here. DeBlue, Dreadpool's here, PyCon Fusion, Ganderlad. Lots of really familiar, cool, familiar faces. Great to have you here, folks, as everyone's just filing in. All right, guys, let's get right into things, shall we? And earlier this week, the co-op title Second Extinction has made its way onto the Xbox through the game preview program. And you know what? It's a pretty crazy game with lots of bullets and dino guts hitting the floor. I've spent some time with it, and yeah, it's a bit of a wild ride. I would I would love to know what everyone's thoughts and first impressions are of this early access game. Well, whoever's played it, anyways. Dragons, have you played it at all?
Man, I put some time into this game. What I haven't done is played it co-op, and I suggest for everybody. First of all, this game is high action. This game is not like nothing else you played besides N64's Turok. It is awesome, but you cannot play by yourself. You really need help. These dinosaurs are aggressive. They're attacking hordes. The artificial intelligence is definitely on 1,000, I think, in this game, because I'm telling you, when you get to shooting one dinosaur, they will flank you. Yo, it's an amazing game, man. And it's, it has a couple bugs, but just to see how the game is running right now, the game is awesome, man. I really believe this game is gonna have some great future content dropping for it, because the community is really loving it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I played a bit of it too, and I know exactly what you mean, because I mean, yeah, it's definitely built to have, be with your friends, familiar faces. I was playing with some randoms myself, and it worked out pretty well, to be honest. But it's like, if one person drops, you're really screwed, because
You're in trouble.
those dinosaurs, they like, I wouldn't even compare it to zombie games, because they're
relentless.
AI. Yeah, the AI.
Can I ask you guys a question?
So aggressive. Yeah, go ahead.
No, because I've actually been wanting to check this game out, but since you guys have and I haven't, I need to. What is with the difficulty system? Like what I saw, like on what they talked about, like how the difficulty range moves around depending on what's going on in the world map at that time.
From having so many hours in it, right? I don't know how to assess that, because I didn't play with my friends. The game is hard.
So even in the areas where they say it's going to be easy, it's still hard.
No, it's tough.
Okay.
I played on normal, right? I don't have time. I have too many games to put something on an expert or the highest difficulty setting. But I'm telling you, I played by myself, and I had to do the first mission it was like the A area. I could not complete that if I stood there and fight the dinosaurs. I had to do what I had to do: run, get out, save bullets, and save my life on my edge of my couch constantly. It took me 2 hours to beat that first level, or the first part of that map mission, by myself. I said, no, I got to play with people, because you need backup. The AI they're not playing with you. I don't know if normal is normal. It ain't normal for the regular games out here on the market. That game is tough. It's tough.
Is it a story, or is it just random missions?
No, it's a story. It's a little bit of story. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like Left 4 Dead. Zombies attack, you kill all the zombies. No, it has merit to it, but it's definitely tough. Don't play by yourself. You need to join up, and Centurion, you need some help? Plus me, I need it. Come, let's join up together.
Oh, definitely. I've been wanting to play this game with friends since
It's hard.
Second Extinction actually made me consider buying a game on PC, and then I found out it was coming to Xbox, and so I've just been sitting on my hands this whole time, not like dropping $25 on PC, because and then I got ecstatic when I found out it was coming to Game Pass.
Facts. It's tough.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that, Centurion, because yeah, this game it can be accessed over Xbox Game Pass. And yeah, a lot of people are testing out this title right now. It definitely has a lot of room to grow and there are some noticeable bugs and different things. The AI, I'll be honest, I'm not sure if the AI is acting the way that it should. Like, I see these dinosaurs making some really weird moves, or I've seen like dinosaurs, like I'll just be running in the snow, and then all of a sudden in the distance I'll see like one of these velociraptors just kind of like jumping like in midair like 50 feet. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like, what the hell?
It can't
Do
be
they-
any worse
do they
than the,
jump off
AI
walls?
from Homefront?
Well, first to answer Tim's question, I haven't seen them jump off walls, but they'll like dig underneath the ground in the snow, and then like they'll pounce up
Yeah.
right back at you, and then they
And then
do
you got
like
the
these.
streamers.
Yeah, that's right, and then
They
they also.
call in reinforcements. Like,
Yeah.
They do.
I'm
I mean-
never playing this game by myself again. I'm sorry.
For me, I think the game looks good. It looks very tough. A little unfair. People comparing Returnal to it because of whatever you want. But this game's in preview. It's just starting out. It has potential. Shouldn't be compared to a game that's a full release.
Fact.
And I mean, it's glad. It sounds like a lot of people have fun. From what I saw, though, damn, it looks tough. Like I saw, they just don't stop.
They don't.
They're like
No.
running after you, and I was like, yeah, this game I'd be dead in 2 seconds.
No, they were chasing after me like anything.
Has anybody gone online and gone to Second Extinction's website and actually look what the developers put on there? Like they show the models of the dinosaurs and the abilities they have and exactly how they're what they do in the environment and the role they play. I mean, they put a lot on their website for this game. I mean, and they even have the roadmap of where they want to take the game kind of for that year. I mean, they're trying to be as informative as possible with people on exactly the direction they're taking this game.
I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I haven't
No, I'm
checked
not
that out
ever
yet
playing by
personally.
myself.
Well, that's what I mean. I just love looking at the character models, the dinosaur models, and
Yeah.
just the colors and I mean, they look really ravenous. I mean, they're really awesome to look at. And on screen, you don't really get a good chance to look at the detail. On the website, they actually show you some detail of what they look like. And they even include that there's other dinosaurs in the works. These just aren't what you're getting. This is why it's in game preview. They are wanting to release other dinosaurs into the ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
That's right. And they got some pretty crazy moves, these dinosaurs, too. Like, I've seen them jump at you, but they'll, like, do, like, almost like a karate kick in the air. They'll come at you, like, at an angle.
Step.
Yeah. Like,
They like
Yeah, I saw that side
Ninja
step.
Raptors.
like
Yeah.
it's like what the heck is going on here? What are they feeding these dinosaurs? I mean, I know they're like mutated dinosaurs, but still, it's pretty crazy stuff, and they are interesting to fight. Just like so far, I've been using this guy with the minigun, and I do a pretty good job of clearing them. But it's like they just keep coming at you. I mean, it's very if you're not with somebody or a team, it's like you're setting yourself up for failure.
Thanks.
But I just gotta interrupt you for a sec, guys. Dirt Griggity with the $5 super chat. What's up, TXR? Shout out to the panel, One Away Dragons,
Dirt!
and of course my WBG panel member Hyperfang. Have a great show, and big ups to Uncle Tim Dog. Yeah, that's right.
Uncle Tim Dog. That's your new name now, Timmy.
I don't know. I was Darth Vader. Now I'm Uncle Tim
You're
Dog.
definitely the dog.
I
I
definitely, to Griggity, I have to talk to him DM, but I will be on their show soon. So look forward to that.
Nice.
Definitely am, man.
Yeah, totally. And we also got a $10 super chat from Italian Clowns. Carlo, buddy, thanks. And he says, Tim, this is the generation for Xbox. I am so excited for Phil's vision. We see this with strong Xbox Game Pass moves and xCloud. Also, what's up, Lemon? Xbox. I love Xbox. Good stuff there, Carlo. Thank you very much, man. Much appreciated. Oh, man. Yeah, Tim, I mean, as far as I know, this is the first game preview title in Game Pass, if I'm not mistaken.
Grounded.
Grounded.
Oh, yeah, that's right,
But-
Grounded.
No,
But you know what? Yeah, for this generation. But the thing is that preview is in itself. You have to decide as a gamer if you want to mess with it, because sometimes, like, I played preview for Arc and other times, and sometimes I feel like sometimes you might better off be waiting. But other times, if you want to do the whole journey along with the developer and build the game up to its release, that's great. But one of the great things is that Game Pass is going to get a lot of people on it regardless. So it seems like a match made in heaven. You have a preview, and then you have the influx of people on Game Pass that can play it. So, if you want to try it out, definitely try it out. Personally, I'm going to wait until it all gets fleshed out and then maybe play with Lemons or whatever, or somebody who's like really geared up on it. Because I'm having enough of this getting my ass kicked lately in games that I want to protect myself a little.
Yeah. What gameplay is this right now? Is that yours, Invader?
Yes, it is.
You see that T-Rex you fighting?
Yeah.
I didn't even. That's the first level. I didn't even see the T-Rex. That just shows you like this game is offering a lot of work. I didn't get a chance to see a T-Rex, and I see you battle it now. We use the same character, but that's the same level. You got to search the hangars, and I'm telling you, this game is fast paced. You can't go use the bathroom. You can't do nothing. It's high paced, fast action, and keeps you on your toes. This game is really good, man. I gotta say, preview or not, this game is definitely where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the gameplay is interesting. Like, there's definitely a lot of room for improvement, but again, it's in game preview. I'm not gonna like give it too much criticism like it's a full release at the moment. That's
Right.
where I don't get why people are getting on it so heavily at the moment. And maybe it's just because there's a certain like console exclusives for other systems out around the same time, and there's being these odd comparisons being drawn. I really don't know why, but I think they've been pretty open about the fact that it's a game preview game, and you know what, it's cool that we get to have the chance to play a title like this again, just to test it out and whatnot. But I'm curious, guys, how do you guys feel about this? I mean, this is a pretty decent-sized third-party title. How do you feel about these kind of titles entering a paid subscription service like Xbox Game Pass?
I think it's good for these games to have a opening community. So, like, say, like, if they just released it in game preview as itself, where you got to pay money for it, some people will be on the fence about it. You know what I mean? Not sure, because some games have shot themselves in the foot with that. But you got stories of other games like coming back from the dead per se from game preview. So I think entering it into Game Pass day and date just gives it a community of its own right away, which definitely helps with bringing improvements down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More engagement numbers.
Mm-hmm. Well, another good thing too. I mean, this is a title. They have all kinds of different titles in Game Pass, but this is a co-op shooter, and it's a great way to like co-op shooters. I mean, you look at how much how popular these games get when if there's like a multiplayer element to them, and a lot of people just try it just for the fact that, hey, you know what, it's in Game Pass, I can just give it a shot. There's no real disadvantage to it. It's just the ease of access. And you know what, I had a great time with I've only played a couple of matches. Admittedly, I haven't put as much time as Lemon, but it's fun. Again, lots of a few kinks, but like I don't know if you guys are watching the gameplay right now. You're seeing some like crazy like velociraptors, like glowing red velociraptors that are doing like ninja kicks on me and crap. But either way, like it's just like the AI is definitely brutal at times, and I'll have like I think like a triceratops start running at me in a moment, but it's a unique game. It's like, again, I'm talking about all these different moments, and it's like I can't really say I've had these same moments in another game before. So it definitely makes you talk, right? So,
but with Game Pass, they you're already paying for it. You might as well try it. What was the game with the dwarfs, and you had to do the mining? What was that called again?
Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah.
Come on, we had that in preview. You grew with the game, and what's crazy and beneficial to the gamer is when these games are in preview, you get an opportunity to go on their website, say what's wrong with the game, say what you think could be improved with the game, and then the developers look at what you're talking about and they can make improvements. So any game in preview, and especially being on Game Pass if you already have it, that's a bonus in itself because you can grow with the game and maybe some of your ideas you talk to the developer about, they'll put in the game. Because there's only one thing I've really seen bad with the game is that when you have the fog area, right? The green fog, and if you're in a clear area, it doesn't have a transition into the fog. It just pops in. But that's the only thing I've seen wrong with the game. For it to be just a preview game. I ain't seen mad bugs. I haven't had games drop. I haven't had games dashboard out. But people got to look at things and take things with a grain of salt. Like you're getting an opportunity to play something that's unfinished and give your opinion on how to improve it. You can't really beat. It's like a super beta. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see how people can complain about that. I think that's awesome.
I will say I think they should limit like how many games are going into preview, or just couple it with a bunch of other games. So like I think this one was good because it was Second Extinction. I think there's another game that Destroy All Humans, I guess that came out with it or was going into Game Pass with it. But as long as it's not like, hey, this week it's just Second Extinction, like a early access game, that might just put a bad look on Game Pass in a sense, because people are trying to like point out, hey, this game's broken. This is the type of game that goes into Game Pass, even though there's plenty quality titles in Game Pass that go in there. They should probably just like shove that in with some other titles. Like,
absolutely agree on that, because the narrative's spin.
Yeah, Twitter. Like you don't want to be like with that's what some people think of like Netflix that way. Even though there's some quality titles, quality series on there, they'll like point out one, bad or one, Adam Sandler movie that people call, trash. And it's like, well, that's the stuff that goes on Netflix, even though there is like quality stuff in there. But
a ton. You're right. They're the minority, so you got to ignore them. Facts. Just got to get past that.
I mean, just look at Craig. Like it was no one in the live stream, not a single. You can't find a single person that caught Craig in the live stream. It was when you went back and like slowed it down and like, oh, because it was like literally a millisecond. And so obviously they didn't spend a lot of time, like I guess, putting a lot of texture on his face when it's there in a flash. So it's kind of stuff like that just blew up. Domino's was tweeting about it, like, what about graphics? So stuff like that can blow up pretty big. Of like, hey, that's gets this look of like, hey, Game Pass just has these crappy titles. I don't think that would be a problem anyway in the future. Because once all those Bethesda titles go in their day one, some of the first party studios they got cooking, eventually that's not going to matter anyway. I think right now it's just the early stage where there's not a lot of new stuff in Game Pass, where it might get that stigma.
Well, even now it's totally worth it, but you consider the fact that EA Play is included with the Game Pass Ultimate. You consider that there are probably other big publishers in talks. I mean, you hear a lot of chatter about Ubisoft and their titles possibly going into Game Pass as well. And I would imagine other publishers are, having the same conversations with them because of the engagement levels that they've been having. So I mean, Game Pass, there's a reason why it's growing at the exponential rate that it is, because it's a great value. And normally I wouldn't be talking about these big like marketing like company talking points, but I mean, I really like it. I really enjoy just being able to try a game, and hey, you know what? It really beats like spending $60-$70 on a game that, hey, you know what? I might just want to return in the end. So there's that, but I also might enjoy a game that I picked up in Game Pass. I might not have tried it otherwise. So awesome service. And Second Extinction is it's another nice addition to it. But again, we'll see what happens, guys. This game was going to continue to grow. They're going to add stuff, and I'll be very curious about what they plan to add down the line, Centurion. And I got to check out their website. Hopefully they tell us what their roadmap is for the game. But yeah, it looks cool. And I definitely suggest everybody to check it out. We will move on, guys, to our next topic. And it's actually a continuation of something that the rumor mill was churning with talk of Xbox and IO Interactive working on a game together. Well, over the past week, we've been seeing some more information trickle out from some trusted outlets and news sources. Windows Central Jez Corden, good old Jez there. He got some info saying that it's a new IP, a fantasy RPG. Even a site like Eurogamer, they chimed in and they stated that it's a AAA title and in early development, supposedly set in a medieval-esque world with dragons, which, that's got me very interested. And again, it's just in a very interesting that we're starting to see all these details kind of pop up now. Devin, I'll hit you up first on this one, bud, because I know you recently put out a video on this very subject. What do you think about this rumored game and partnership with Xbox and IO Interactive?
It's definitely very interesting considering the titles that IO have put out recently, like with the Hitman series. Of course, you got your stealth gameplay, your first-person shooter, and switching over to a RPG fantasy type game is definitely interesting. I really have no idea like what it could be, especially for it being a new IP, so it's not going to be a reboot of a franchise or a remaster of some sorts of like IP that we know and love. So Jez has been saying on Twitter how it's the swirly icon, the emoji thing that he put on, connected world multiplayer, something that's never happened before. So I'm definitely interested to see what it could be, hinting at fantasy and dragons and whatnot. I wanted to touch on the fact that it could be a Game of Thrones game, but I'm thinking maybe that wouldn't even be considered a new IP, considering they made a Telltale game. So I don't know if that would count exactly. But that's what I would like to see from the information that's been given. I'm thinking a Game of Thrones game would be awesome. Connected multiplayer, different armies and factions, and all over the map and stuff. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, well, as we were talking about before the show, I would be interested to see something like, again, when I hear talk about like medieval-esque and dragons, I'm thinking like, what'd be so cool is having a system where it was like the Lord of the Rings, like the Shadow of War games, where you like command your own armies and then you take over like these medieval castles, and you also get these dragons to help you capture the castles and just wreak havoc. I think, like, to me that'd be pretty cool. But really, really interesting. Actually, Jeff Grubb, VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb, also had some information to add, and he stated that it's going to be a behind-the-back Diablo-style game. How would you feel about that, Devin?
I'm curious to think, like, does he mean it's going to be a top-down type of game, like a top-down camera type game?
I don't
considering Diablo.
Yeah, I don't think so. He said behind the back, not top down. I think he just was saying, hey, if you make it behind the back with like everything that Diablo incorporates, like your build.
I think that would be insane, like a whole like a gauntlet. Like, anybody ever play one of those? Like, it'd be like a first person or like a third person Diablo or a gauntlet type of game.
Like and a dungeon crawler.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
listen. Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
No. Well, I had heard this has been a long time rumor, but I didn't obviously say anything because it wasn't my place. But I think it was coming from Jez. So Jez had known this for a while. What I'll say is, Xbox Global Publishing looks to be pushing, I believe, 3 AAAs. And this is one of them. And as Devin said, could it be like? I think this generation is going to be this generation of big names: Indiana Jones, Star Wars, possibly Games of Thrones, maybe Lord of the Rings. I think that finally video game makers, Sony and Microsoft, or obviously, Sony's seen this with Spider-Man. If you have a big IP and you put a superhero behind it, or a recognizable, blockbuster film type game behind it, you most likely, if you get everything right and you just make a decent game, you're going to have a hit on your hands. And I think that both Sony and Microsoft are going to be pushing this. So the Games of Thrones stuff, or the Lord of the Rings, like that stuff, it makes a lot of sense from what I'm hearing from behind the scenes. And like I said, I had heard this for a while. So I do think that this is a real rumor, and I do think it's going to be a AAA, and I think it just goes to what Xbox is doing. They're really loading up internally with their studios, their 35 teams, and this is also a way for them to push out more AAA content. And in addition to that, they have the AAA day one third-party deals that they could push out on Game Pass. This is why I keep pushing and hitting the drum that Xbox this generation's coming to play in a huge way that I don't even think that Sony is going to match up against. I think that Xbox is looking to do a full court press on the industry, and this is just one of their ways. And to be honest, as gamers or Xbox community people, this is what you want to hear. You want to hear this stuff because, like I said, you have 35 teams internally from Bethesda and Xbox Game Studios supposedly making games. And now you have the Xbox Global Studios that nobody ever really talks about. They don't really make big games, but now even they're making the step, and they're going to have this game and other developers that I'm sure you hear about later, because I've heard the rumors, but I'm not going to say them right now because it's not my place, and I'm sure that maybe Jez or whoever will push it out soon. But yeah, I mean, this is awesome stuff, and all the stuff that we're hearing. I heard it's the Hitman team too, so that means you're getting pretty much the best developers at IO. And obviously, IO has been somebody who Xbox has been talking to for a long time. I think Xbox even tried acquiring them, and they've developed a really good relationship. And this is just, if this rumor comes to be true, is just a huge thing for Xbox, because now you're firing on all cylinders, and now you're even having third-party, exclusives being made, which is, huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this is a pretty big deal. The IO Interactive, the Hitman team, is very talented in itself. They're expanding they just opened up a Barcelona studio. Again, not too long ago, only a couple years ago, they separated from Square Enix. And yeah, Tim, that's right. We had heard that, Xbox was talking to, to them, but I mean, I'm just assuming that they really wanted their independence, at least for a little while,
right.
Anyways.
And not to drop, but that's something. Just think about it. Xbox comes to them and says, "We really want you to, be a part of us." And IO is like, "Well, we have our independence. We really don't want to do that." So then, what does Xbox say next? Well, what about making a game exclusively for us? We'll fund it and be part of Xbox Global Studios. And 2 years prior, that conversation went, and now here we are, and it all adds up. You know what I mean? So just the connection and the rumor and everything about it, it just seems like it's a go. And I'm usually very, if I hear a rumor, I'm very like, it's not true. But if it all makes sense like this, I believe it's true. And with Jez, he's one of the best in the industry. He wouldn't put his name on it and push it out there like he did if he didn't really believe it's true. And he has known this, I mean, for 2-3 months. I mean, like, it's been known. So, kudos to Jez. He doesn't put anything out there unless, he really believes it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he showed the documentation, I believe, and he was sitting on that for a while. So I mean, good for him for not, blowing things, early, right? So, that's cool.
I'm surprised, because did he go into any detail, or is that just Jeff Grubb that had the other details?
Jeff said now that Jez has pushed it out, I'll say this, and that's when he talked about the Diablo style.
Because he still has that Cyclone thing that people were trying to figure out, but he said he won't. And also, Matty Plays, he was saying he's not. They don't want to say anything because they don't want to I guess spoil what it is. But I thought that was weird. Because he's been hinting at that. He's had that Cyclone and he's had the dragon emoji in his tweets before, teasing it. That's why I thought it was I'm surprised he's even saying anything of who's making what.
So considering that the last post where he had something about Starfield and Halo Infinite, and so the dragon with the question mark, does that mean that the swirly emoticon doesn't relate to this?
Yeah, it's something different. That's
completely
that's
different.
Yes, it's exactly. And I do not want to mention the developer, whoever. It's not public news, but it's just good to see how thorough Jez is and how people are, and it's just good to see just how we're even all here and we're talking about the emojis and all this stuff. How psyched we are for games coming in. Just the contrast in generations. We were talking about freaking voice messages on Xbox Live being a big story, and now we're Xbox is so loaded up. And I'll talk about it further on things that I've heard. It's just this is the time for an Xbox fan to really get excited and behind the brand.
Absolutely. Centurion, you've been a little quiet here. What do you think about all this Project Dragon talk? Is this all this talk from Jez and Jeff Grubb? Is this an IP that, from the sounds of things, this fantasy IP, does that intrigue you at all?
Oh, definitely. If you want, I like what IO does. I'm waiting for a Hitman to go down in cost. I've played the first two. They have a very unique style of gaming. Well, at least when it comes to Hitman, I'm looking forward to any other project they're gonna do. And I've been just sitting back listening to you guys because you guys have definitely. I'd have no idea what the little Cyclone thing is that Jez put out. Or, you guys, this is what I'm here for sometimes. I love listening to what you guys talk about when it comes to what these could mean, because, let's just talk. Shockley alone in himself has a background in games I know nothing about because I missed that whole generation of gaming. So when somebody's talking about what it could be, what it couldn't be, I'm always listening in. And all I can say is I'm excited for whatever is going to be pumped out because, who doesn't want to play a fantasy-oriented RPG?
Right. Now, I'll pose this question to you first. Now, we know Fable's coming, Avowed from Obsidian, Elder Scrolls 6, and so on. Damn, we got a lot of RPGs on the way, don't we? A lot of fantasy RPGs.
Right. And that's where somebody, not to be mean, but all these devs better be on top of their game. And we can't have any cyberpunk BS where the game comes out broken, or these devs got to kind of realize that there's going to be a lot of competition in the water. And if they want their product to shine out from the rest, they better have something kind of going on. We're all excited for Fable, but let's be for real. Fable hasn't been around for a long time, but we're all excited that Fable's being handled by a developer that we're all wanting to see what they can do with it. Same with Avowed. Avowed is being done by Obsidian. Almost like, let's just say if we were going to have a conversation of who's helped bring RPGs into being RPGs, Obsidian would definitely be in that conversation. And now, obviously, we have IO over here wanting to do it again, wanting to do their own. So, dude, golden age of gaming, we're going to be in for a fun ride.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, this is so early on. I mean, can you picture this releasing? Oh, I don't know. This has to be at least like 2 or 3 years away, I would think. Do you think we might maybe see a trailer in the next coming months?
God.
Right.
If we see a
seems like
trailer,
it's
we're going to
further off.
talk something on like
Yeah.
what the initiative did for Perfect Dark. Just like, hey, we're all here making a great game. This is the premise. Pretty
I
much
think you're
that's
gonna
it.
see it. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, I was saying I'm thinking it's somewhere along the lines of what the initiative did. What were you saying?
I think what they're probably going to do, and given what they've done up to this point with showing those teases, like Perfect Dark, Fable, Hellblade, I think they're probably just going to start doing it that way of like, okay, here's the tease of what it is. Like if they can show, at least if it's an established like IP, like for Fable, for example, I think you'll probably, because Fable's been in development. We've heard about that being developed back in like, what was it, at least 2018.
Right,
Early
pre-production.
before they even announced that they bought Playground, we heard that they were making a Fable. They were,
Right.
there was talks of that. So I think you're going to probably see Hellblade. If I had to guess, we're probably going to see at least some snippet, I would think, of gameplay of Hellblade possibly this year at some point. And then probably Fable and Perfect Dark's been 3 years in development. So maybe you could get a slight, kind of like Horizon Zero Dawn, where they at least showed, it kind of in action, even though it wasn't gameplay. So you're probably going to see those first. And this IO game's probably further off because they probably just signed these deals.
Mhm.
Maybe they've been in the works for the past like 6 months or whatever. And now we're hearing about it, but it's probably relatively new. So it's probably going to be a few years into the generation when you'll see this game probably.
Right. No, I mean, it's just interesting that, again, a few years ago, like, some people would think we'd be nuts talking about all these different, like, games coming from Xbox studios and, first party, right? And it's just, again, that just tells you, like, where they're going, and there's all this excitement being generated. I mean, I haven't seen the base be this excited in a long time. Again, I just listed off just fantasy RPGs alone. Again, Fable, Avowed, Elder Scrolls 6, and so on. Like those are the big ones, and then there's going to be smaller ones coming. Fallout as well.
Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds, forget it.
Not to mention.
Well, go ahead.
Oh no, just not to mention even the In Exile stuff like Wasteland, and they're working on what was it? Brian Fargo, I believe it was. He was teasing something the other day as well about something really early in development, and he's really excited. So again, who would have thought that we would be having this conversation at this point? So I'm just excited. Tim, go ahead. You were saying?
No, it's just awesome stuff, what we're talking about. One thing I did hear, and I think that people should take into consideration listening, and this is pretty accurate stuff, so consider the source, that people working from home and the developmental nature that they're doing right now because of coronavirus is 50 to 75% of what they get when the people are in office 100% of the time. So basically, you're getting half of the work production that you would. So as we talk in years, like 4 years here, 4 years there, the year of 2019 or 2020 and 2021 per se, basically is 1 year of development as opposed to two. If you look at it in a roundabout way, because of the stoppages of certain things like mocap, The things they just you don't get the efficiency of what you get in a developmental nature for video games that you would of the people at the that come to work and work in the same in the same building. That was given to me by some people that definitely would know that type of information, definitely that are privy to studies that have been done. So what I would say is that, yeah, there's a lot of optimism all around the industry, but don't be surprised this year. Halo's going to make it, but just even for third party and whatever with dates, that if there might be some pushbacks that might really, never would have happened in the future, whether it be Call of Duty getting pushed out of the holiday or something of that nature. That stuff might happen because of just exactly what I talked about. The coronavirus and the pandemic really took a lot out of the industry. And I know as gamers we want it now, but you have to consider that. Definitely has affected Xbox, has affected Sony, and it's affected the industry. But I do think that you'll start to see some of that stuff with the timing rear its ugly face this holiday. I do think that we might get a third party that gets pushed out, and possibly an Xbox game. From what I heard, Starfield and Xbox Halo Infinite, they want those to really hit this year. And then Forza Horizon 5 is rumored, but we'll see about
Jeff
that.
Said it
but
was in Mexico. He confirmed it.
Right. And so if they get those three games, we'll consider it a blessing, and we're really going to have an unbelievable holiday. But like I said to people listening in this panel, just know what I said is very real. And, the coronavirus, it's been a horrible thing in general, but just even for like game production and stuff like that, it's hit the industry pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Tim, question. Is that kind of on the tail end a bit, or are people not going back to in-house work?
I'll tell you this much, that it's probably, just in general, I think people really want to get back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
And we might be close there, but it depends on each individual, whether it's Microsoft or whether it's Ubisoft. It depends on their protocols. Like for
Right.
Microsoft, I believe that they...
Is it like situational?
Yeah, situational. I believe Microsoft is still working. I believe their studios are still working from home, but don't quote me on that. I think that when this all happened, they put, there's going to come a time where everyone's going to come back to work and they're working together. I just don't know if it's going to happen this physical year. But as we get closer and closer, I mean, just in general, I could speak of where I am. You could start to see that really things are really starting to get back to normal. They're saying, like in New York, July 1st, everything is back to normal. So if that's the case and studios are back in full raring, that's a very good thing. But again, it depends on the company's protocols and what they think is safe, what the CDC recommends at that time. But yeah, if like say all the Xbox studios and they're all full back to working in July, that'd be huge.
But that would definitely be
right.
Awesome.
But just know that, think about that. The efficiency of the worker supposedly is 50 to 75% of that of if they were actually working. So they're taking hits already, and that makes sense. If you're working from home, you're not gonna you can go take a nap when you feel like you have a headache. You can't do that at work.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Let's see. Oh, we got a $5 super chat here from Phantom Kraken. Oh, another Weebly Green crew member here joining in the chat. Thank you very much, brother. He asks, what are the chances of another studio acquisition for Xbox on E3? Good to see you, Devin, my WBG brother. Let's see. I don't know, guys. What do you think about this? Another studio acquisition. I mean, they already made a big purchase, 6 months ago with regards to Bethesda and ZeniMax. I don't know. Do you guys think they're going to be stopping for a little while, or do you think they're still on the hunt?
There were rumors a while ago saying that the Bethesda purchase was just the beginning. There was some people talking about how there was Xbox was shopping in talks with another publisher, perhaps. Maybe I'm not exactly sure how accurate it was, but something along the lines of like that type of a purchase, a big purchase.
Well,
I haven't heard much after that.
Yeah, my understanding was that the talk around Paradox Interactive was semi-serious, but as far as it's going now, I don't know.
Well, let's be real here. Microsoft this generation is hitting on all cylinders. Game Pass is definitely over the top effort. Buying the ZeniMax deal was also first party situation, which we all knew they needed more first party studios, and working with these devs and bringing these exclusive titles. This is not the first time we heard about them talking to other developers, making something exclusive for them. Iron Galaxy did that with Killer Instinct, which is a 10 million seller. 10 million. One of the biggest games on the market that nobody ever talks about having numbers. You know, they're hitting grand slams left and right, bringing first party games, bringing third party games, day and date and Game Pass. This generation has been nothing but like a plus for them. So I don't see anything changing for that. Their momentum is just it's incredible.
Yeah,
and the value is amazing.
No, you're right. And also, you have to keep in mind, too, like I was saying with Paradox Interactive, that supposedly they're interested. Keep in mind that they want to expand, but not just like the console side, but the PC side, too. So they're gonna, they're I would say they're definitely in talks with studios, either big studios or publishers with a lot of different PC franchises, PC-centric franchises that would be a very strong draw to their online store, the Xbox Storefront on PC. So again, like there's a couple of different angles you could work out here too, right? So there's that. Otherwise, I mean, they're talking to everybody. I mean, we've even heard talks about, there was a few months back, developers in Japan that didn't want to be named saying that, yeah, Xbox is seriously looking in Japan for developers, for talent there. So, either big or small. But I mean, when you look at the ZeniMax purchase, anything is possible at this point, and I keep saying that. So
yeah. Well, one of the things I talked about it on Twitter. If they do get another developer or a publisher, they're going to have to probably reorganization Xbox Game Studios and how it's pushed out, because I do believe right now Booty's overextended with the 15 studios. I think that what the task that he has is a little much for him, and it probably in their best interest. If and when they get a publisher or a developer, that they kind of either Bethesda absorbs maybe Obsidian in Exile and another studio to kind of lighten the load for Booty, or they just as it is, Xbox Game Studios is Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda is Bethesda. That was part of the deal, so. They kind of have to figure out a way to I don't know if they can make it all encompassing one, or if this is always going to be the way it is because of the way they kind of agreed upon the way it was going to work, that Bethesda stay as its own entity. But I do think that they need a little work there on the Xbox Game Studios, maybe even hire another person that can help maybe Booty or lighten the load, because, just think about that. 15 studios to decide on a budget to oversee them. That's a lot. They're all over the country. They're all over the globe. That's just. I just think that it's a little bit too much to put on somebody. And when you have the likes of Peter Hines with Bethesda, I do think that they have some talent there that they can utilize. Like I said, maybe Bethesda can absorb some of these studios, or they could just bring in another, another guy, and then just have another part of Xbox Game Studios West, or however you want to, push it. But that's why I do believe that they're looking to at publishers, because they look at what Bethesda did and how well it went. You just say, hey, as Invader said, they're looking at the PC space too. Let's say Paradox, for example, if they get them, okay, we'll do that. You'll still be Paradox. You'll be used as the way you've been running things, and we'll take it from there, and we'll incorporate you somehow into Xbox Game Studios, or we'll just figure out a way to handle that, to describe that to the public, and have that as an organization. The reason why I do believe PC is a focus is simply because of what I've heard. The biggest gain of growth easily is the PC on Game Pass. Most of it's on console. PC's still doing well, but if you really want to blow it up, if you get PC Game Pass and you get those people signed on as readily as they're doing with the console, you're that much bigger and you're that much stronger. And so that's why I do believe some of that stuff. But I don't, from what I've heard, and we'll talk about this on a later subject, they're still investing. So investing is the key word, and what that is and how it goes about is going to be very interesting.
Yeah. And you know what, Tim? I think on that note, and gentlemen of the panel, I think we'll transition on to some other news that you were just hinting at, Tim. And honestly, it looks like Xbox, it's just, they're absolutely crushing it in terms of revenue at this point of time. I mean, their trajectory has just been going up and up and up. It's been insane. They're they've been posting, again, every now and then they post these quarterly revenue earnings, and according to the latest earnings report, the gaming revenue shot up a whopping 50% year over year at 3.53 billion. Massive earnings there. Content and revenue rose 34%, and hardware was up massively. And I'm not even making this number up, guys. 232% year over year. 232. That's insane. And again, this is just some really impressive growth, to say the least. Tim, we look at these numbers and they just jump out at you by how much growth is going on here in the Xbox division. What do you think is playing a big role here in these massive spikes? I mean, could it be Game Pass, like you were saying?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely Game Pass. It's definitely hardware is sold out. They cannot make enough chips to supply the demand. The pandemic, you'll see next quarter is going to probably, it's next quarter to go year over year. You'll see a lot of leveling off. They expect that because that quarter last year with coronavirus is a huge quarter. So, you're looking now of a year straight of huge numbers, and this was pre-pandemic year over year, so that's why you saw such huge numbers like 232% and all these numbers in the revenue growth. But yeah, Xbox is just freaking. They're at the point where they're making $16 billion now over a year. Not too long ago, Sony was making $18 billion, and that was big. Obviously, Sony went up. They're around 22 now.
Yeah.
But Xbox is really starting to push, and to think that they haven't freaking even released Halo or any of their big games for 2 years. People say 600 days, this and that. While all that's true, you do point out that their heavy hitters are now. If they release a Halo Infinite and Starfield this year, you're just going to see abnormal numbers, like crazy numbers. But yeah, I had asked somebody from Xbox. I said, I gather what you from the talking from Amy Hood and Satya that you guys are confident, and the reply I got was, "We're very confident." So what that tells me is that you just the investment part, like I just said, they're looking to spend money, and whether it's through Xbox Global Studios or whether it's through buying up possibly IPs so you could have Kojima work on them, whatever whatever your mind can think of or imagine is probably what's going through Xbox's head as we speak. They're looking to spend money. They're looking to invest. They wanted to buy Discord. They put a $12 billion purchase out there, or an offer out there, which I listen. I have to agree with Discord. You look at that and you understand where they're at. If they go public, they'll probably make a ton more money. So the fact of the matter is that. This is going to be very interesting, and these type of reports and these type of things when you have Hood and Satya, pushing the numbers, and they didn't give Game Pass numbers out, but I've heard that they will give Game Pass numbers out when they hit milestones. When you see them with their type of excitement, and like I was joking around with somebody from Xbox, when they have their quarterly addresses, you might get to a time where Xbox is the leading talk, or one of the, behind cloud, one of the highlights. It used to be they talked about Xbox for 5 minutes. Now it's been 10 minutes. Now it's 20 minutes. Now, more and more it's becoming a focal point of Microsoft. And I think there's just a lot of aggression, and they're looking to push and spend. It's they don't want to recklessly spend, but they're looking to spend. So keep an eye out, and this is just really good stuff from that quarterly review. I could see like more AAAs, third parties going into Game Pass day one. I could see, just think of all the stuff that you could spend money on in video games, and they're thinking about it right now as well.
Is anybody else here?
No, we here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, did we lose Invader again?
I didn't want to ask, but somebody.
Please tell me Invader, you're here, right?
I'm here. No, I'm here.
Okay, because if Invader's not here, that means the show crashed.
No. I was just gonna say, guys, that actually, my mic was muted by accident. I always do that, but no, I was just gonna say, guys, that again, you think about it like this too. They're gonna be going for all kinds of big Game Pass inclusions, such as you look at. There were a lot of rumblings. Past few days about Battlefield 6 possibly going in the service, and I mean that would be a huge draw to Game Pass and to Xbox, the Xbox ecosystem overall, and to the Xbox consoles. Like, can you imagine the amount people like just trying to get on Game Pass just for that game alone? It'd be huge. It'd be massive. Like and then who knows what else they have in store too. I know that there was some supposed leaked documents earlier today too, talking about some games. What was it about Stalker 3 possibly being a 3-month exclusive to the system, if I'm not mistaken?
Seen that it was on Reddit. Stalker 2 apparently only 3 months exclusive, but I'm thinking like they just posted about how there's no plans on it to be on another console. Well, to be on the PS5. I think it's kind
of like Final Fantasy VII Remake. Hey, it says on the box, a year exclusivity. It gives you the date. but it's been past that already, and we still have never even heard anything about the PC version. They have not said anything, not even Xbox, but not even the PC. So, it doesn't mean it's going to drop immediately 3 months later anywhere else. And the first one was never on console. So if anything, probably the whole reason he signed the deal with Game Pass, because there was talks about that of like, why he did it, or it's probably because, hey, it's this game has been in development for like a decade. He's been making it through this whole past, like since like 2010 or 2011 for PC. So it's been a long time coming. There probably wasn't going to be a console version, but now is Microsoft stepping in. Hey, how about you bring it to console? Kind of like they did with Phantasy Star. Hey, it wasn't in the West. Here, we'll try to help you with that development. Get it on console, or like Phantasy Star, get it in the West. And then now Phantasy Star might go to eventually, PS4 in the West. It was already there in the, Japan, but not in the Western countries. So it's probably going to be something like that, where it's going to, as right now, probably 3 months, and there can't be any talk. So it doesn't mean, drop immediately, but probably that's when he can say, hey, now I'm going to be it's in the works, and then it's coming out later. And then, so it might be a ways down the line still. So
just thinking like that reminded me of Crossfire X. How I know the original Crossfire game is a huge game on PC in a whole nother part of the country. Like it's not popular in our region, over here in the West.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like big in Korea or something.
Xbox is making another iteration of that game, like a new game for that series. So I think that's huge, because that's like the number one game where it is popular, like the number one multiplayer game shooter.
That one's interesting because it did say console launch exclusive, which meaning that, okay, is it going somewhere else? The only publisher of that game is Microsoft. Like Smilegate partnered with Microsoft, and Microsoft seeked out Remedy to make the single player game, or a single player portion of the game for the campaign. So it's like, that's why I don't think it's going to eventually come to other consoles, but I guess there's a possibility just on their console launch exclusive wording, and it's not going into Game Pass day one. Just the multiplayer, because that's free to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, that's interesting too, because we haven't heard a lot about or anything about Crossfire X in a long time.
And it was supposed to drop last December before it got delayed.
Right. Well, I mean, I would imagine that they've been quiet for so long. I would imagine we would hear something pretty soon now. I mean, we're coming into, we're already in May 2nd right now, and June's not too far off. I mean, yeah, I would imagine we'd be hearing some stuff from Xbox quite, sometime soon. Hopefully we get a release date for that. Obviously the COVID has delayed a lot of things, so
yeah. As far as Stalker, take this with a grain of salt. There's no way that game is coming 3 months after it arrives on Xbox. It takes at least 6 months to port, and they're a very deliberate studio. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's a year exclusive, or just an exclusive, depending on how well it goes overall. And if I could see Xbox making a bid on them if the game does well.
Mm-hmm. What was that document anyway? Was that just something like internal, or is that
was a leak,
like an ad?
Kind of like a leak. Like they say the Gunk is a full exclusive. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I was just trying to figure out, was that for... I don't think that was for the consumer, the way it kind of looked, as far as like...
No, it was an internal document.
Because that's not something you would just say, like, hey, it's a lifetime exclusive. Like,
right. Yeah, it looked like it was probably an internal confidential thing that was leaked.
Sometimes we got to be careful with the way these companies use the word exclusive, because remember the whole debacle with PUBG. People went on for months whether it was going to PS4. And instead of Microsoft or the publishers saying, listen, we're giving y'all a year exclusive, it's going to be on this platform, they kept talking around the situation when they was asked direct questions. Will it be on PlayStation 4? And, nobody gave an answer. So, we have to pump our brakes a little bit and say, you know what? We don't know where this thing is going. Now, when okay, Microsoft helped Bluehole put PUBG on console. That's a fact. Now, on PlayStation, who helped them put it over there after that year exclusivity? You know what I'm saying? But these companies need to come out. PlayStation don't hold their tongue. We got this game as a timed exclusive. Yakuza Like a Dragon for Xbox Series X and S was a timed exclusive. PlayStation getting it in March. But sometimes these developers, they act like they want to pull the shield over your eyes and don't want to say exactly what it is. Come clean with your gaming community. Tell them, listen, it's going to be on this platform for 6 months. It's going to be on this platform for 3 months. Call of Duty's done it. We're giving this content to PlayStation for 3 months. Destiny's done it. I'd rather the straight up talk than we sitting here trying to figure out what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Was it PUBG more because Sony wasn't doing early access games?
I don't know why it was with PUBG, but I'm talking about they was interviewed from IGN. All the big mainstream people asked a straight question. Is this going to PlayStation? Well, it's exclusive to Xbox. And they would never give a straight answer. And the gaming community is going back and forth like, is it exclusive? Is it not? Or will we get it? Will they get it? Just answer the damn question.
Yeah, that's why I think it was. It was that Sony still didn't have an early access program.
And they still don't.
That's why you didn't see We Happy Few on it when it was early access until it was finished. And then PUBG, I think that's why Bluehole went with them.
That's why you're not seeing Second Extinction on there right now.
But okay, look, Yakuza Like a Dragon.
I think they have it now.
That's a full game. They didn't get that. We supposed to get Godfall. We supposed to get Final Fantasy VII Remake in April. We're in May.
Mm-hmm.
So
unless they pay for that.
Straight up. Forget the console manufacturer. The company, these developers need to say, we made a deal. Y'all not getting Marvel's Avengers for 6 months. Say something.
Yeah. Well, I think I agree with you.
Deals before too.
Right,
like
but sometimes
Destiny. We thought we were getting it. Oh, we're getting it this year. No, they extend another year, so we have to wait again.
Right. Exactly.
And that's what happens is that while what you say is correct, a lot of the times there's money thrown around to say, hey, don't say anything. It's like,
you know what I'm saying? Because and then we're all figuring out.
Lead the fifth.
And everybody's reading their articles on their statements and we're dissecting it, trying to get something out of what they're saying, and they're not answering anything. Like, I really thought
the only one that I've seen ever botch that was the Tomb Raider fiasco for Xbox. So many people put so much pressure on them, and then one day they're just like, oh yeah, it's going to go to Sony too. It's coming to Windows and all this bull crap. But I think Sony, for whatever reason, they shore it up better where you just don't know. And then with Xbox, it's just like, it's kind of known. Like, it's,
like Dead Rising. Dead Rising 4. They said, we got a year exclusive. Boom. Yep. Okay, that's done. You know what I'm saying? Like, just tell the community what it is. That's all. Sometimes I'll be looking like, this is some BS. Like, just say what it is. You got to check to keep it off another console. Take that upfront money. I'm not mad at you, but tell your community. Like, we supposed to have Final Fantasy VII. They don't even talk about that. So now I don't know if Xbox is going to ever get it.
That's so weird that they only got 2 and 4 of Dead Rising franchise on PlayStation. Right. They never got 1 or 3.
All 3, right? It's crazy. It's weird, man. But
yeah, it's a very weird franchise just for that alone. Just because, like, Dead Rising 3, like, you knew that, like, without Microsoft's help, they would not be funded. But then it's like 4, oh yeah, okay, we got exclusivity, but only for a year. So I don't know. You just I don't know if they really care about the franchise all that much. But Dead Rising is really associated with Xbox. So take that for what you will.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, guys, I mean, just to sum it all up, I mean, Xbox is doing really well, and I think that there's a lot of good energy right now behind the brand and just where it's going. So, just good to see all this, and even just talking about some of these games too. Let's move on to another topic. And a few days ago, we saw PlayStation release a first-party title with Returnal. It's a sci-fi rogue-lite game that's been getting a lot of talk the past few days. Been seeing some good things, some frustrations, to say the least, and so on. Shockley, buddy, I know you bought the game and you've spent some time with it. What are your thoughts on it? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's. I was really that last summer when they first showed off like their slew of games. That was probably the one out of the PlayStation ones that the kind of intrigued me the most. Even though what we think of like Prometheus, the movie, it's the setting, the kind of a lot of that aesthetic was really kind of cool. So that kind of harkened to some of the Metroid vibes. If you playing it, definitely you get a lot of like, it feels like what Metroid Prime would be had it ever like evolved into a more like mature, like say a third person franchise. But exploring it and going through the doors, it feels a lot like if you've played a Metroid Prime game before. I think Jeff Grubb's review was kind of fair in that I bought Hades, I haven't played it yet. But I guess the criticism was that it should still be like fun, and I think I'm getting to that portion because the first part before you're getting up, figuring out the game, getting to the boss, dying, losing everything, going all the way back, that part's frustrating, and you feel like your time's just been wasted. So it's definitely, you have to be just knowing what you're getting yourself into. Best way to look at it is like treat it like an arcade game. You're playing like games back in the day like Pac-Man or something, or the thing's going to get reset at the end of it. You might get really far, but that's if you treat it more of like an arcade style game, I think you'll have a better mindset going in. But man, I think luckily I had a gift card, so easy decision for me to pick it up. Mm-hmm. But man, with Resident Evil 8 dropping a week later, they should have probably released this like a month ago when Outriders dropped. Because
I agree.
Yeah, you got Resident Evil 8 dropping this week, $10 cheaper. Plus, you get an extra 6,000 Microsoft points if you get it digital. So it's basically like $6. I don't know. That just
well,
right now it doesn't feel like a $70 game, but luckily I didn't pay that for it. But it is really cool. I think a lot of people will dig it, and I think I'm starting to get there. But yeah, you just gotta know what you're getting yourself into. There's been a lot of bugs. I saw Rand; he beat it before anybody.
Wow, Rand's a different
2 hours of his gameplay because the system crashed. It's pretty widespread because I see so many people posting it. Big Sony guys posting it. Hey, my system crashed after 2 hours, or I'm locked in this room. The doors won't open. Like I think it wasn't in any of the reviews from what I saw, but I think that might be like a widespread because I think it's the firmware. I think there was a firmware update for the Sony console, and since then it's just because people were saying don't use the DLC suits. It's not that. It's happened to people without those suits.
Yeah.
So either hopefully it's a firmware issue, because if it was a game issue, there's so many different issues of like this enemy's in the wall, I can't shoot him, or I can shoot him but I can't see him, or I can't get out of this room, or hey, I got this build, I spent 2 hours, and the system crashed and everything's gone because it doesn't save. So
I think that if you look at it, it's probably not the game. It's probably like they're saying tied to the system, a firmware update. But what I wanted to talk about was, listen, I've been a little critical of Returnal. I've had arguments. I don't think it's a bad game. I think it's a very good game. I do think you can question it for being AAA and being $70. I do think that it wasn't marketed AAA. If you look at the sales are looking a little low. Christopher Dring reported that even though now physical's hard to go by, but it's lower than he expected, even though we know what the deal is. If you look at Amazon right now, it's 22. It was 17 yesterday. You could still buy it. Some people said it sold out, but right now you can buy it. It's 22 on the list of top 100. Usually, Sony games are pegged at 1 for weeks after. So I don't think this is going to sell that great. Otherwise, I think it is a good game. But I do think that Sony guys trying to push it as a big AAA and to make fun of Xbox is a little disingenuous, because if this was the other way around and this was an Xbox game, that they would not be recognizing it as what they're trying to push it as now. So
they
that's
murdered it.
Yeah, that's the problem I have. Right. I just kind of find that, and I might sound petty on Twitter about it, but I do find them being disingenuous about it. I do think that that it doesn't, you could question that. The $70 thing is a big problem for Sony, not when it comes to The Last of Us, but when it comes to games like this, or if they're going to have, they fix the pricing on Destruction All-Stars. But, if you're going to have those games and then you have your competitor, having Game Pass day one, you could call that out. But overall, I think that the studio deserves credit. They did a great job. They got a really high Metacritic score, and all that stuff is great. But I just some of the stuff that I've argued was more or less because I feel like there's a double standard. If you're going to say that this is AAA and it's awesome, well then what about Wasteland 3 or what about Gears Tactics? You guys acted like those games couldn't even be considered. So it's can't have it both ways.
And honestly, Tim, too, you look at the marketing behind the game, it didn't seem like they were that confident about it, because I've seen way more for Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, and that comes out, that comes out in, just a bit over a month from now.
June 11th.
That's a AAA, I would say.
That's a AAA.
But you can see the difference between Ratchet and this, as far as that looks like a $70 game. Totally, that's going to fly off the shelves, no problem. Whereas this, it's are you saying you're $10 worth more than what Resident Evil 8's gonna give us? Because this procedural thing, it's cool that it mixes it up, but you're going through the same level quite a few times because you lose everything. So if you take, I think you could probably beat the first boss without going into these other rooms and taking a risk at I need this, because there's some other rooms in there before the boss that are actually more difficult, in my opinion, than what the boss was for me to beat. I beat the boss, I didn't beat those other rooms, which I could have got more rewards, and there's some risk involved. So it's not like Sekiro, it's all about your timing and you're getting better because you're fighting that area
and
over
learning.
and over. But in this one, everything just gets wiped and there's a lot of RNG involved. So now, I got a good roll this time and I died. I got a cheap death here, or I grabbed this thing that gives me a bad malfunction that I, risked. Shit, you just got to be ready for that, because in some aspects, you're not going to feel like it's respecting your time. And for $70, there's going to be a lot of casuals that are just going to drop this game like a bad habit. But I mean, if you can stick with it, if you like the setting, if you like Metroid, Prime, in a sense, it's gonna harken a lot of those feelings back. So you're gonna be in it, and once you beat that first boss, I think that's when you're gonna get, the feeling got it. Now I understand what I need to do going into a new area. Now I get how to actually play the game. That's the hard part. Just getting past that initial threshold of how do you attack, this game as a whole. What do you do? Because it doesn't really hold your hand. You just start figuring stuff out of hey, I should probably do this area. This worked,
Well, I got something to say on this. I put in about 20 hours into this game, right? Maybe no, I'll say about 17, maybe 18.
Oh wow.
If you don't like Dark Souls, you don't like the challenge, this game is not for you. When they say a game is like roguelike, right?
Mhm.
And it's there to challenge you. Demon Souls, you die. You start from the beginning of the level when you die. Same situation. We can't get out here and crap on something because it's like it's too hard for casuals. Dark Souls, Demon Souls are not for casuals. Bloodborne, it's not for casuals. They can't handle it. We got dudes playing games who's begging developers to put an easy mode in there. So you can't take away from what this game brings. It's not a AAA game. It's definitely AA. The quality, the art style, the story, the way they go about it. You have to put the time into a game. But since when is that a negative? I see a lot of people banging on this game, talking crazy for their console war BS, right? And the game is solid. It doesn't matter what you're saying. It's a good game. If you don't like Demon Souls and getting killed 1,000 times, you shouldn't be playing no game in that type of genre. It's just part of that. You know what I'm saying? They also made Resogun and Ex Machina, which is a great shooters. Can't say this game don't got a lot of action. It plays like Recall. That's what it plays like. Has a Gears Reload type feature in it. It's taken a lot from other games, but the game is fast paced. Action. Now, with my PS5, I haven't experienced those crashes, but Call of Duty crashes my goddamn Series X too. It's not my Series X. It's Activision and 500 patches every week.
Yeah.
Turns my system completely off. But of course, they're not going to say in the review, oh, it's crashing. You don't know what's crashing the game. You don't know what's crashing your system, but it happens. How many of us had our Xboxes where you hear that, you know what that is, right? That's a hard drive error. Resets to the dashboard or turns the system off. The game is a pretty solid game. It's not no huge budget game. It's not Sony backed 100%. They didn't go out there and advertise the game. But is the game decent? Yes, it is. Many of us saw the reviews on Recall. Recall was dope. But it got abused from the market. It didn't even deserve all that abuse. Recall was a good game. It was great platforming. The 4K
And that was a $20
update.
game, right?
Right. The update for 4K on the Xbox One X was awesome. They brought in HDR. They did all this stuff for a game that they didn't really invest in. This game is the same style of game. No game has Housemarque put out been a AAA game. For the Sony ponies or whatever y'all want to call them, that try, oh, this is a AAA game. No, it is not. Is it a good game? This is not a system seller, but it's a good game to add to your library. It's better than that garbage Godfall. Godfall is trash. That was just, I'm mad I bought it digitally because I immediately would have took that back to the store.
Hey, I had a little bit of fun playing Godfall.
I mean, I had a little bit of fun too, but not for the price.
Oh, I'll be up front, man. I bought my copy for $40. I'm gonna put that out there. I bought
it, man. I was like, man, this better go straight to Game Pass if it go to Xbox because this is not worth the money. But I would the $70, $76 to be exact, that I spent for Returnal, I feel way better than Godfall. Way better. Yeah. And I've seen, and I try not to be biased. Xbox is my platform. I love my Xbox. I play everything online on Xbox. If a game come out multiplayer on both, I will never play Call of Duty on PlayStation. That's blasphemy. But I'm just saying, being real, I've seen a lot of people talk about this game, and a lot of people's puffing smoke up your behind. That's just what it is. This game is a decent game. And no, none of those roguelike games are for casuals. Not one of them. Sekiro is awesome. Everybody beg for easy mode. That is not the regular people that play that mode. That's just what it is. So that's what I gotta say. I'm done.
I think I would wait for a discount. Like, I'm not saying that the game looks terrible. I think it looks good. Definitely. I like difficulty in games,
Mhm.
honestly, but I just don't want to pay that steep of a price, especially
Facts.
um I like the way it's set up. It's unfortunate that people are getting game crashes. I feel bad for these people. I see people saying like, oh, I played 3 hours and like it crashed while on stream, like while you're live.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awful. That's terrible. I wouldn't want that to happen to me. But I feel like if I paid at a discounted price, I probably wouldn't be as upset. You know what I mean?
Look at it two ways, right? I 5,000% agree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're a PlayStation person right now. You're starving for a decent title. You ain't got too many options.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, my boy was like, "Lemon, you gonna buy that?" I said, well, besides Ratchet and Clank, what we got for the rest of the year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it. My PlayStation, I just matte blacked it. It looks all nice now because I hate the white. And I said, I didn't buy this. I didn't spend $1,000 in 2 different days for 2 different consoles for it to sit there and say, "Oh, I have it. You want to play it?"
I definitely agree with that, man. That's a great point. Like,
Right, like,
what else do
I
we
need
have?
something.
I gotta
No.
grab that.
I'm buying 10 games on Xbox. I could take $70 and buy it on my PlayStation. What's my next game? Oh, Ratchet and Clank. And after that, who knows? I'm good. That's how I did it. But everybody don't think like that. But I have to be real. Like, the game is a good game, man. It's fun to play. Watch people stream it. I'm pretty sure 99% of the people that watch are gonna say, "Man, that's a lot of action," and it is. It is, and that's what they're known for. Housemarque is known for action-based games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think Sony acquires them?
They don't have to. They get first-party homeboy favors. They're not locked into Sony. Resogun could have been on Xbox. I had to buy it on PlayStation, which is one of my favorite titles because it reminds me of Defender. Then, they getting favors. They had a whole article last week praising Sony for giving them the backing, for letting them do what they wanted to do with a game. This is their first time out the door not doing a regular shooter. They praise Sony. Sony might as well buy them. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not going nowhere else. It's like with Insomniac. Microsoft had to pay big money for oh my God.
Sunset Overdrive?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Then Sony still bought them. They wasn't locked into Sony. Any of those games could have been on Xbox, even though they published it on their system, but that's just a publishing deal for that system. That don't mean they couldn't bring that game somewhere else. They like the people they do it. It's the same way with Bethesda. Bethesda been dealing with Microsoft since PC. Forget Morrowind. Before Morrowind. They've been dealing with Microsoft. It was inevitable for the ZeniMax deal to hit. They've been partnering forever. Same situation. How last generation before last, nobody had Mass Effect on their system. They had to get the reiterations of the game later. Microsoft was locked in with Mass Effect for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, same thing, man. Same thing. That's how you got to look at stuff. Like, but the game is alright.
I think it's well. I think listen, you put it very well. You're a lot of people say listen. Xbox guys in general are just fair. You giving the game a good play and you recommend it. And like I said, my problems were just stemming from just how you could perceive that game some way, but then when you guys try to put down an Xbox game like
Recall.
Gears Tactic, or Recall.
Gears Tactics is a higher quality game than Returnal by 1,000%. Those cutscenes alone, it's not even in the same ballpark.
Right. Well, but that was like my whole thing. And I don't listen. I don't want to think that I'm putting down Housemarque because I think they're an excellent developer and they do a good job. So I think I I stirred the pot a little last week, but I'm going to speak how I feel. When I see a double standard
As
or
you
I
should.
see
It's
stuff
always a double
that
standard.
it is what it is, and unfortunately, Horse Marquee was that game. And listen, I do think the $70 price tag, while I do think it's justified a lot in certain areas, I do think it's an area where I do think Sony would try to push a game that's not a $70 game and put it in there just because they can. And I'm going to always, point that out. And,
They need the money though, Tim. Tim, they
I
need the money.
agree. That's why they
can't-
did it.
Microsoft could do what they want to do. They bankers and this is another thing. You brought up a point earlier about Game Pass and the production and the way they're handling Xbox in general. Let's not forget. I don't care. The 232% hardware sales is absolutely amazing. The 50% revenue increase for Xbox division is incredible. But let's keep this in perspective. No matter how much Xbox makes, they're not even 1% of what Microsoft makes as a company.
Yeah. True.
That's what's crazy. They're doing so great for gaming, it doesn't even make a dent to the rest of the company. That's their lowest revenue division, and it's doing amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? People just keep forgetting that. They think like Sony, PlayStation. Sony can't live without PlayStation. They'd be in deep water if PlayStation fell. Microsoft could sell Xbox and still be Microsoft.
Yeah, easily.
There's a big difference there, man. Big difference. And people forget that. That's why they're able to make these deals and do what they do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, again, Recore. I'm sorry, not Recore. Returnal. I'll keep an eye on it. Well, they're both.
You might as well
Rees.
call it Recore.
They're both Rees. What can I say? Returnal, Recore. Right. It's easy to tie them up, but either way, Returnal. I'll keep an eye on it. Like Shock, I have some change in my PlayStation 5 wallet, but I think I'm gonna keep that for Ratchet and Clank or Rift Apart because I'm just more excited for that platformer. But either way, I mean, Returnal looks like a very interesting title worthy of your time, guys. Again, if you're into like roguelites and that kind of stuff. But anyways, guys,
I say wait for the reviews for Resident Evil because you might want to grab that instead. And then hopefully they patch out these crashes because that's gonna, really, take people like, hey, I'm returning this or I'm selling this to GameStop because when those crashes happen, when it happens just in general, when you die, you're like, shit, like that I just wasted 2 hours. But when the game just did it to you and it wasn't you, that's gonna piss off. And it happens
that would send me off
multiple
absolutely.
times. That's just gonna piss you off.
Mm-hmm. Totally, buddy.
So I would just wait till that's ironed out and then, get a cheaper game and hopefully Resident Evil's good.
Brag
So.
about Ratchet and Clank. That don't sell systems. That's a game you get when you already have a system. That's not a system selling for them. It's really not. It's not something you say, oh, I got to have Ratchet and Clank. I'm going to spend $500 to play it.
Well,
and I'm a Ratchet and Clank fan. That's not one of those games that do that either.
Well,
God of War is something else. But Ratchet and Clank,
Well, I tell you, May, even before June, May's got a lot of games at the end of it that I'm just like, damn, I'm going to have to pick and choose between Biomutant or, what was it, Necromunda Hired Gun. There's a few games there that I'm just like, damn.
Hold off on Biomutant.
A lot. Yeah, there's a lot to choose from. May's
Wait for that one. I played it a little bit. Just hold off and see what the final game looks like because I'm waiting to see what I'm waiting. It's gonna have to be more than what I saw at E3. That's a fact.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I've seen, it looks pretty cool. But
it looks pretty cool though. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, guys, on to our fifth and final topic for the night. And Microsoft has decided to change up its long-time model for revenue sharing with its PC game developers. It's currently 70% for the developers and 30% for Xbox, but starting on August 1st, it's changing to 88% for the devs and 20% for Xbox. Again, this is only for the PC. or sorry, 12. My
12%,
mistake.
yeah.
And again, this is only for the PC side of things. There's going to be no changes to Xbox. I think they came out with a statement a few hours ago about that as well. Centurion, I know you've been keeping an eye on this stuff. What do you think about this update that Xbox is doing with its revenue sharing?
Well, let's go back to what Mr. Lemon over here stated about how Microsoft actually doesn't rely on Xbox and its gaming division. It doesn't live, breathe, or die based on their survival. And so definitely this is a good move. We've already seen how this has done wonders for the Epic Game Store when it has come to competing against Steam. And in my opinion, I also think this is another just another kind of nail in the coffin when it comes to the 30% that other companies charge for their digital marketplaces on PC, because we all know that everybody always, for some reason, talks about these companies about 30%. I know they're still making it on the Xbox side, but at least with PC, we have a start. And this has actually helped Epic Game Store on the PC side land some exclusivity when it comes to where these games can actually be sold on what platforms. So it's going to be really interesting to see exactly what kind of competition this move is going to generate.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like, yeah, and you're absolutely right too, because actually it's funny with Epic, they've been having that little battle with Apple's App Store, right?
Oh, and that has been a very expensive battle on top of some of the exclusivity deals. I read an article, it came out to like $444 million in 2020 alone.
Yeah, because they were there's this whole lawsuit going on with Epic and Apple, and Epic's been calling their practices with their store and how they treat their developers exploitive and a few other words, and just kind of interesting what's going on there. And then you see Microsoft with its store now going to with what Epic's doing, and it's like, do you think that's going to attract more developers?
Oh God, yeah. Look at we saw the Borderlands developer 3, I think, jumped ship as soon as he found out about the whole they only take 12% over at Epic. So we're gonna see some game deals that are definitely gonna make the Xbox ecosystem even sweeter. This is even gonna be something that potentially could finally once maybe get rid of the stigma that surrounds purchasing stuff digitally from the Xbox store, at least on the PC side. I guess on the PC side, your two big battles right now are Steam and Epic Game Store, and it's going to be real interesting to see if this is going to be what Xbox needs to finally kind of make its presence known with its online store, at least on the PC side.
Mm-hmm, right. Well, it's interesting you bring up Steam too, because like the geeky nerd is saying in the chat, they're gonna stop dropping games in Steam. I mean, they've been pretty involved with Steam in the past year or so with dropping their titles. Do you think they'll eventually stop that?
Probably. Microsoft has really found its niche in crafting its ecosystem. We all know what Nintendo has to offer. If you go into their ecosystem, we all know what PlayStation has to offer. With Xbox, there's always been this, I don't even like using the term of uncertainty, but you've always kind of wondered where their niche really is. And I feel like they have really found it now. And so now that they have like their goals in like their eyes are definitely on the ball, and they have a goal in mind. And I'm really sure at this point they know where they want to compete and how they want to compete, and regretfully who they want to work with and who they don't want to work with. Mm-hmm. If we look at you go read the articles, it's actually really interesting. Even though Epic has been suing Apple, as a matter of fact, it's kind of funny. Epic has been using Microsoft, I think, as like a consultant, or maybe even on the government side, because there's been even some antitrust stuff looked into the Apple Store, and so some of the government entities even used Microsoft as a consultant because of Microsoft's passed for being actually investigated for antitrust violations.
Right. Well, again, Microsoft's had issues with Apple not allowing, was it Game Pass, the Game Pass
Right.
app onto the store. That's why they had to do all this roundabout with, downloading
browser.
with the browser, right? So
Yeah.
Apple's been a
I
pain
tested
in
it
the
last
ass.
week. It's all right.
And that's where
It's good
I
stuff.
did a video on it. Like, the whole thing with Apple and that debacle is Apple wants to be able to take everything that an Apple user can download on any of their devices, and it has to be reviewed by Apple. So that means you have to surrender the entire game. So let's take Elder Scrolls or Call of Duty, a game that's on average around 100 gigs or whatever you want to call it for file size. And this, like, they want this entire game, and they want this entire game also in their servers. So that means this isn't because they don't want, like, if you get into the rules, you can't stream something off of a device you don't own, which means that it's against the rules for you to stream a game off of the Azure cloud server because the consumer does not own the server. And when I read that in the rules, I was like, that is probably the most half concocted rule I've ever heard in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And Apple think they the Bentley of electronics, so they want to.
That
control
definitely
freaks.
That was that. You read some of the like, you go read some of the past emails that, because I actually in my video kind of linked some of the articles where they actually went and got a hold of some of Steve Jobs' previous emails talking about the Apple Store, and I mean, like, oh yeah, like we are the gift to the economy. We are the Apple Store. I mean, like, if you read some of these emails, you're like, oh my God, they really did think they were on a whole nother level.
Yeah, they think they different, man. And even with that being said, it's like Microsoft. Let's not forget, they've been working on being PC and Xbox cross play, cross saves since 360. Remember games for Windows?
Oh yeah,
that didn't work. Mr. Philosaurus Rex, he figured it out, and this is the first generation. Well, from last generation going into this generation, they figured out how to make both sides work because they're a PC company first. They came out with 3 consoles now, right? And 4. It's like they couldn't figure out how to blend everybody together, keep the same playing field, bring devs where everybody can make money. They just figuring it out. And the way that they're going, I don't think anybody can challenge them. Because I remember the days of Windows. That game Shadow, what was that game called? Shadow something?
Shadowrun,
right. You could play multiplayer. I had that. I thought it was dope. You played against the PC players. It was awesome. But they couldn't figure out how to make the PC side equal the console and vice versa, where it was on a even playing ground. And you can't beat them. Now they're matching the Epic Store prices. That's going to bring more exclusives, more people to their store. I don't know what Steam's going to do, but Steam is still at that 33% or 30%. They're going to get hurt by the Epic Store and the Microsoft Store now. Even though Microsoft brings out their games and still drop them on Steam later. But listen, developers have to say we're getting 88% of our profit if we deal with Epic and Microsoft. Steam could get really hurt behind those prices. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo has always held a stake of we're making cartridges. We don't want CDs because they always used to charge $35 per cartridge before your game even releases. Successful or not, you got to give them that money for each cartridge. So, with that percentage going towards the developer, I see a lot of new deals being cut in the next 5 or 6 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just interesting too because you would have thought that since they've been so involved with obviously PC and PC gaming that they would have been more aggressive and better at managing everything from the get-go, but it just, again, it hasn't.
Microsoft?
Yeah, Microsoft, but it just hasn't been the case. Only until recently, like you said, because, again, this has been a very, very long process for them. I mean, ever since they were talking about I think I remember Phil talking at a conference back in like early 2015. I think that's when they were talking about like what DirectX 12 and stuff like that, and just like starting to hint at what their PC initiative was gonna be, and it's just been this very slow
Very
game
slow.
plan. Yeah, but again, we're starting to see the fruits of that, right? So
Yeah, now.
now.
But you got to also look at hardware. Everything wasn't just about software. I mean, the 360 when it came out was 6 months ahead of PC at the time, and then PC caught up and of course surpassed it because console has longer lives than graphic cards. But it's still it takes a process, and if you're a PC gamer, you know what it takes to be one. It's expensive if you want a game on the high end, and they really it's a balance, and they kind of figured it out, and we all reaping the benefits now. But it was a long process. Xbox 360 went 10 years, right?
Yeah, it was, it lasted.
That's a
yeah. Damn.
Yeah, it was outdated when the Xbox One came out. You know what I'm saying? It was seriously outdated. 10 years. You know how many graphic cards dropped between that time? It's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, well those that generation of consoles was a little long in the tooth, but man, some really great games even towards the end came out.
Oh, facts.
Yeah, Devin, what do you think about just to kind of round this out? How do you feel about Xbox's Microsoft's initiative to give a little more to developers and again just slowly pushing a little more on their storefront there?
I definitely hope it helps them revamp the Windows Store on the PC side. I'm not really a huge PC gamer, so I don't know much about this stuff, but I think it'll definitely pull.
See, at least he called it by its actual name. I kept calling it the Xbox Store.
I definitely think that it'll pull more developers to put it on that platform exclusively, and not to mention their first party games. If they do decide to revamp the store, they'll probably only put their first party games on the store and second party, etc. So I'm hoping that they put the money into revamping the store in the servers for that, because I know that a lot of people don't like the way the Windows Store is currently, or possibly in the past. I don't know if it's much better now. I don't play on PC, but it's definitely a huge cut for the developers. Why would they go anywhere besides Epic and Microsoft and get less money? It just makes sense. I think it's great. I think they're definitely being competitive now, and the aggressive nature that they've been in the past year. I definitely think that's the plan. That's the move. They're going to be keeping their exclusives, and I think devs are going to turn to them for that cut.
They said they thinking about doing it for console store too.
Yeah. Well,
that's
I think
another bonus.
Yeah. Well, I know that a few hours ago they shut it down right now, but I mean,
they did.
Yeah, I think
okay.
I could have sworn I saw something come out a few hours ago about that, but I mean, I could be mistaken. Guys in the chat, let me know if I'm wrong. But I mean, even if it isn't at this time, I mean, I could see them eventually doing that just to like come in line with the PC, because there's no reason why they shouldn't.
If they do that with console too, you're probably going to see a whole bunch of third-party exclusives, to come to the platform, or other games that have never been on Xbox coming to Xbox, just because that's such a great cut for the developer. Like you're getting almost 90% of the payback.
Facts.
You'd be insane not to go with that, in my opinion. Why make
decision.
less money?
I don't see how you would go somewhere else. Oh, we're gonna give Steam 30% or 33%, whatever they get, and it'll eventually hit Epic and Microsoft, and we can make 88% instead of 70%. Yeah, okay. I don't see it. It doesn't, like, I own a business. That's not business like. You want to make as much money for the product you provide as possible to get overhead and not be in the red. That's a fact.
And that's why I think that that Microsoft is absolutely going to revamp their store and their servers and everything that goes into that with the PC platform to because developers they look at the bases like the base of Steam is way larger than I think any storefront on the PC. So first they're going to want to fix their issues there, and then I think developers are definitely going to come around just for the cut.
Yeah,
Because if you want players in the storefront, like players that a big base on the Windows platform, so they don't just say, "Oh, I'll wait until it goes to Steam."
Right. Well, I think Anthony makes a good point too. I mean, Steam does have a pretty large install base, and
Yes, they do.
And the Microsoft Store has never been reliable. Well, I mean, they made it better, but I do see what he's saying, though. I mean, again, it does need tweaks. It could use an overhaul in a lot of ways, but I mean, they're getting better, and they've shown a commitment to PC gamers, and that's something. And in the coming months or year, I mean, I'm sure we'll see more on that front. But either way, this is a good thing, guys, that we're seeing that from Microsoft, and that they're willing to give more to the devs, and it puts some other storefronts, in the hot seat, right? So we'll see what happens in the months ahead.
It would have been crazy if that other part ended up being true.
Yeah.
Well, hold up, Invader. You don't store. Like that the Windows Store on PC now got a wish list and a cart? That was the biggest thing they did for me, because I was like, how you don't have a cart or a wish list?
Oh yeah,
we got it now on Xbox, and now we have it in the Windows Store. I think that was the biggest improvement.
Well, dude, that cart is dangerous in the store.
Say it again.
That cart is dangerous in the store. Drop it in the bag, just freaking all of a sudden open that thing up. You're like, how the fuck did I put $100 in there?
But at least, even PlayStation had a damn cart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, how we don't have a cart on the goddamn Windows Store? It was like, go to buy something, you had to go buy it, complete the order, go back and pick something else, and then go buy that again. But I was like, why they don't have a cart? Just pay one time. Man, that was the biggest improvement for me. You need anything else out the store, I don't know what to tell people.
Well,
that was enough.
It can't be as bad as the Google Stadia, because that thing just got the search function. So
wait a minute. Wait. Invader, who's that?
Oh, that thing that got released, all that, it just kind of disappeared.
Oh, you mean that afterthought? Oh, my bad.
Dude, I can't wait till one of those things pops up on the Antiques Roadshow.
Exactly.
Dude, they're gonna have the controller on the table. You'd be like, yeah, this is when Google tried to do cloud gaming.
That's the thing. 3-4 in the morning, you fall asleep, you wake up to the home shopping network, and they're selling coupons for it. That's what that is.
Oh, what a
man, the infomercial.
Come on, man. No way. See y'all later.
Yeah, exactly.
Luna's out of here too. I keep saying it on everybody's podcast. Luna's done. It's done.
It never began. Like, where is it?
No, it's done. They got their last $6.95 out of me last month because they were secretly charging me. They're done.
Ooh, damn.
They can't even.
They're shadow charging.
It was. I can't. First of all, I'm paying for a beta. I'm paying to beta test your service.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible. It's overpriced. Every game on there, I already own. There's no benefit. Game Pass is a benefit. Game Pass Ultimate is a bonus. xCloud and console streaming is an additional service. You don't pay for xCloud and get console streaming. That's part of your service.
Yeah, well, it's pretty bad.
Keep getting that.
It's pretty bad, Lemon, when, like, again, their games keep getting either delayed or, like, canceled, because you look at that Lord of the Rings game that they were developing, and apparently they couldn't.
Them and Tencent.
Yeah, they couldn't come to terms with Tencent because Tencent bought Liu, and once Tencent got involved, it got really complicated, and they just had to walk away from it, which is
No, they said my wallet bigger. No, my wallet's bigger. My wallet is bigger. My wallet is bigger. So you know what? No game. And at the end of the day, y'all both got big wallets, but y'all not gonna make no money together because nobody will swallow the ego pill. Luna is dead. I'm telling you, the pricing is dead. And for those who don't know, you pay your $6.96 a month for the games they got on Luna. It's not a lot of games. Then you pay per developer. You pay for a channel for Ubisoft, $7. You pay for 2K Games, $7. You pay for EA, $7. By the time you get, if you're a multiplayer, a multi-developer player, right? Like you play all games, all genres, all publishing companies. By the time you pay for every developer for the month, you're gonna have a cable bill to stream games. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry.
That sounds absolutely.
Because I was like, oh, let me see how Assassin's Creed Origins streams. They was like, you got to pay $7.95. I was like, okay, let me try something else. Let me try NBA 2K and see how that streams. Oh, you got to pay $7.95 to that channel. I said, wait a minute. They're charging per developer? Come on, that bill crazy. I'm keeping my $15 a month. I'm sorry.
I'm confused. Like, so you pay to stream it and then you pay for the game too? Or
no, you're paying the Luna price plus the channels for each developer and their games. So you're paying your $7, you're $7.95, you're $7.95, you're $7.95. How many publishers is out there? All want to play Resident Evil. $7.85 for the channel.
Yeah. No, that's
come on.
That's nuts.
That's ridiculous. I was like, this is not gonna last.
Oh, yeah. No, as soon as I heard about the channels thing, I'm like, well, that's interesting that they're taking that approach, but yeah, that doesn't fly with me, especially when you got that.
They don't own nothing, Invader. They trying to take the shortcut, just like Stadia. Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have Destiny. Say a game that we don't have on console. Like, what is the reason?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to stream? Nah, I'm good.
I hear you, brother. All right, guys, I think we'll be calling it a night for this episode now. And, we got through a lot of stuff, and it's been a really fun time just talking about stuff like IO Interactive's new IP, Second Extinction game preview, Xbox business doing extremely well, and a heck of a lot more. And, man, there's just lots to talk about these days. And we're not too far away now from, some of the big game shows coming up in the next month or 2 or 3. So, again, lots coming from around the corner, around the horizon. But yeah, guys, shout out to everyone that tuned in tonight. You guys are incredible. Thank you all for tuning in to watch us and participating by either, again, watching or just being active in the chat. Guys like Anthony Vasquez, Dreadpool, other Zinc, who else has been here? Fastback, The Geeky Nerd, Isaiah, many others. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch us. And if you guys happen to enjoy tonight's offerings, then consider dropping a like and hitting the subscribe button to stay up to date on future TXR content. Now, let's go over to the outros, and leading off with our guests. Lemon, it was great having you on again with us. It was a real pleasure. We got to do this again, bud. Where can everyone follow you, my friend?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, man. I love your podcast. Every Sunday, I look forward to y'all. Y'all come fresh, clean, and easy with it. Y'all don't do no banter. Y'all just say what the situation is. Thank you for having me. You can find me on 108 Dragons TV on my YouTube channel, man. All my podcasts on Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Dragons Den, man. And any of y'all welcome. Hopefully we can get my boy Mr. He's a truant right now. Got the truant police looking for Centurion. We haven't had a Centurion sighting on that Dragon's Den, but we're going to get him on the 15th.
I'm still sorry, man.
I got
Oh
you, bro.
my
Don't even worry about it, man.
Every time I think about it.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for having me.
Anytime, brother. Always good to have you on. Moving over to our other guest, Devin, aka Hyperfang Gaming. Again, bud, some really good thoughts and commentary tonight. It was a pleasure having you on as well. Where can everybody find you at?
Definitely. Thank you for inviting me on the show, man. First guest appearance on the show, actually. All the way back to when I guest appearance the first time on Scram Punks, if anybody remembers that show. But you can find me on Twitter at the Xbox Classic. You can check out my YouTube channel. It's Hyperfang Gaming. And you can catch me on We Bleed Green podcast, which is Monday nights at 6:30 Eastern Time on Dirt Griggity's channel.
Yeah, good stuff. Good crew over there. Again, lots and lots of great banter over with the We Bleed Green crew. But yeah, guys, again, thank you for coming on, Devin. Next up, the TXR regulars, Eric Shockley, buddy. Hey, really good show tonight. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, good show. Thanks for both the guests stopping by. But you can find me at Shock Nero on Twitter, Easy Shock on Xbox Live, and yeah, good show tonight. Thanks for stopping by.
Totally. Tim, buddy, great show as per usual. Where can everybody follow you? Tim?
Tim.
Oh, I know what?
You can find Tim on Twitter making ponies feel like they're nothing.
You know what? I did not realize that Tim had left early. All right.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, he didn't say anything. All right. Yeah, Tim Dog left early, but you know where to find him. xCloud Tim Dog on Twitter. He's always very active there. And moving on down the list, Centurion, my friend. Again, good show. Where can everybody find you?
Thank you to our fine guests for being here tonight. It was nice meeting Devin here, and also thank you again, Lemon. Oh my God, I can't believe I completely did not know we were not talking about the same day. But yes, for those, I will be appearing on the Dragon's Den podcast on May 15th.
Yeah, lock that in.
Yeah, lock that in. It's written on the calendar at work. I wanted to write it in. My boss is like, no, only I can touch the calendar, and I had to throw the marker at her. But yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us. For those interested, you can please find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Xbox Live, Twitter. You can also find me every Saturday night on the Shop Podcast, hanging out with our buddy Pong Soul in the chat. And also you can find me on the TXR Podcast every Sunday night. And man, you said games were stacked for May. For those who don't know, if you are still trying to find a game, shameless plug, there is a small video I put together for those that are highlighting 4 games that are coming out in May alone. Some you may have heard of. One that I guarantee you may not have heard of. Even me and Invader were talking about it. So definitely thank you everyone for joining us.
Well said, Centurion. And rounding this out, I'm Invader, and you guys can find my content over on YouTube at Invader Gaming as well. I'm on a number of different video platforms such as BitChute. Check me out there, Invader Gaming. It's been wonderful having you all here. Have a good night, fellas, and we hope to see you all very soon. Later.